The Old Man and the Stray Dog, A Life of Silence. Walter was a retired carpenter living alone in a quiet, aging house on the edge of a small village. His once busy workshop, filled with the sound of tools and the smell of fresh wood, had fallen silent long ago. With no one to share his days, the silence in his home grew heavier after the passing of his beloved wife, Sarah. Walter's children, absorbed in their lives in distant cities, visited less and less until they stopped coming altogether. His days were predictable and solitary, sitting on his worn porch, staring at the empty street, and thinking of the years that had slipped away. A rainy visitor. One evening, a fierce storm rolled through the village. Walter sat by the window, watching the rain lash against the glass. As the wind howled, something near the gate caught his eye. A small, trembling shape hunched against the storm. He opened the door and peered into the darkness. It was a dog, thin and soaked, its ribs showing through matted fur. The animal looked up at him with wary eyes, hesitant but desperate. Walter's heart stirred. "You'll catch your death out there," he said softly, fetching a slice of bread. Kneeling at the doorway, he called, "Come here, boy. It's safe inside." The dog hesitated, its eyes darting nervously, but hunger and exhaustion eventually overpowered its fear. It stepped forward cautiously, grabbing the bread from Walter's hand. Satisfied, Walter wrapped the shivering dog in an old blanket and brought it into the warm kitchen. "You look like you've had a rough time," he murmured, stroking its wet fur. "Let's get you sorted." A bond grows. Walter named the dog Buddy, and over the weeks they grew inseparable. At first, Buddy stayed close out of necessity, but soon it became clear that the dog truly cared for Walter. Every morning, Buddy wagged his tail excitedly, following Walter around the house and garden. Buddy's playful nature began to lift the gloom that had settled over Walter's life. Inspired by his loyal companion, Walter dusted off his old tools and started woodworking again. He began crafting simple toys for the village children: wooden horses, spinning tops, and dolls. Children soon started visiting his porch to play with Buddy and collect their toys. The laughter of children and Buddy's joyful barks filled Walter's once silent home, and his heart swelled with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. A night of danger. One bitterly cold night, Walter felt weak and unsteady. Collapsing onto his bed, he struggled to catch his breath, his chest tight with pain. Buddy, sensing something was wrong, jumped onto the bed and nudged him, whining urgently. When Walter didn't respond, Buddy sprang into action. He barked loudly, scratching at the door. His frantic barking woke the neighbor, who rushed over to find Walter unconscious. "Stay with us, Walter," the neighbor pleaded, calling for an ambulance. Walter was rushed to the hospital, and the doctor later said, "You owe your life to that dog. He didn't give up on you." A renewed life. After recovering, Walter returned home to Buddy's joyful welcome. "You saved me," Walter said, stroking Buddy's head. "You gave me a second chance." Walter's days became brighter. He continued woodworking, crafting toys and furniture, and sharing his life with Buddy. Together they transformed his home into a place of warmth, laughter, and love. In the evenings they'd sit on the porch, watching the sunset. Walter often said, "I thought my life was over, but you, Buddy, brought it back to me." Buddy, lying at his feet,